Hello engineers! In this video lesson we are going to work through exercise 6-30. Again, this is from my engineering textbook from college, and here's an example on screen of what you'll be making. I'm going to be using the dimensions from the textbook. So open Autodesk Inventor and start a new part. And this part is going to be in millimeters, so let's make sure our units are set to that. Go to Tools, Document Settings, Units, Millimeter, Apply Close, then click on 3D Model. Click on Start a 2D Sketch. For this one, we are starting on the XZ plane, and then making sure our view cube is in this orientation, seeing the top in regular orientation. And since it's a triangular part with curved curved corners, some of you might assume that we start by drawing a triangle, but we actually will start by drawing the circles. These circles we're going to draw, so we're going to click on circle, make sure we're set to radius. So I right clicked and then I made sure I clicked on radius. Let's try that again. There we go. And the radius is going to be 14. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, and then draw another one to the left and one above, just like that. The distance between the two bottom circles is going to be 76. Let's click on the horizontal alignment and click on the two centers here to make sure that they're horizontally aligned. Click on dimension, and let's see, I'm looking at the drawing to make sure I'm setting things correctly. Okay, from this circle to this circle, that's going to be 62. And then from the circle to this circle, this distance right here, that is 38. Alright, so the circle radiuses are 14. The distance between this circle and this circle is 38. The distance between this circle and this circle is 62. And the distances between these two circles is 76. Now we're going to use our line tool, and we're going to draw diagonal lines like so. You don't have to touch the circles, but they should be on the outside of the circles. And just to take note, when I draw a line and I click, I press escape using my left hand on keyboard, and it'll just leave that line placed. And to get rid of it, I just press Ctrl Z, undo. Now we're going to use the tangent constraint to tangent the lines to the circles. So make sure you do that to each circle. And then we're going to use the trim command to trim these little lines right here. And we can go ahead and add the inner circles here. I'm going to right click and change it to diameter because it shows diameter on the drawing. So the diameter is going to be 9. We have 3 of those. And if we want to, we can click trim and trim the inside curve here. And now we have the base. All we have to do is go ahead and click Finish Sketch. Click on Home. And we're going to extrude that shape up by 10. Let's take a look at the drawing here. Here we have a cylindrical shape that's going into the triangular base. And we're going to use a asymmetrical extrusion on this, and I'll show you what I mean. Or we can use the work plane to extrude outward. But I'm going to use the asymmetrical one. So I'm going to click Start a 2D Sketch. And on this surface right here, I'm going to click. And then we're going to click Project Geometry. I'm going to project the geometry of that rectangle here. Then we're going to click on the circle. And we're going to draw a circle with a diameter of 33. The dimension from the center to the bottom of that circle is 24. And then let's see if vertical constraint. I'm going to click vertical constraint. I'm going to find the midpoint of this line right here and then vertically constrain the center mark of the circle. Then I'm going to use the line tool and I'm going to draw perpendicular lines next to the circle on either side. And then I'm going to use a tangent command to tangent those lines to the circle. Then I'm going to trim these off. And that's literally what we need in order to make that cylindrical shape that's in the part. Because we're going to use the asymmetrical command. So we're going to click on Finish Sketch, click Extrude, and it's this one right here, Asymmetric. So I'm going to click on Asymmetric. And for this face and these two inside little corner faces here, in the, let's see, so the total length is 70. Let me see which distance is which. Actually, you know what? Cancel. I'm not going to use asymmetric. I'm going to use just regular extrusion. I'm going to extrude this shape and this shape. So that shape we're going to go in this direction. And that is going to be, let me do some mental math here. It's going to be, actually I can do it on the 70 minus 22. Okay, and then I'm going to click the plus. I'm going to click plus, and then I'm going to click on just the circle alone. And that distance is going to be 22. And don't forget to grab the little part that's under here because it gets cut off because of that projection. Alright, yep, that's what we want. I'm going to click OK. And that's most of the part complete. We do have a hole going through the cylinder shape here, so I'm going to new sketch on right there. I'm going to project the geometry to get that center. That whole diameter is 16. Finish sketch. And it's only going through by 54 millimeters. It's not going through the whole thing. Make sure you click cut and click OK. When I was making this part before, I was having a lot of troubles with the fillets. You'll notice on the technical, on the sketch here, it says fillets and rounds are a radius of 2. So usually I say try to do all the fillets in one shot. But for this part, let's break it up a little bit. So I did the fillet of the outsides. I'm going to do the fillet of this section here. And then finish off some of the other fillets. I believe this whole thing gets, yep. And I think that's it. So when you break it up like that, it should work much better. And then I think these lines, yes, these lines right here. Click OK. There we go. So when you look at the right side view, it's going to look like a curve. So there you have it. That is exercise 6-30. Let me go back to this. What I want to see, I believe I changed it to cast iron for the materials. When you lay out your technical drawing, lay it out in this orientation that you see here. And then I'm not going to cover placing the dimensions. I want to see how you dimension this based off of what you know and your skills. And then I will grade it accordingly or correct it accordingly. Just keep in mind you should have Technic font. Your font placement should all be neatly placed. There should be no crashes with the font or too close to the edges. Make sure that you include the thread note for the whole depth here and all your center marks and center lines, a parts list with a bubble number, and the correct dates.